Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be diving into a seriously powerful story about a single mother whose entire life changed forever, all because of one crucial decision. We're looking at the story behind a $50 success. And honestly, I guarantee this is going to completely reframe how you think about starting from scratch and beating overwhelming odds. Just 50 bucks. I really want you to take a second and let that number sink in. Think about what $50 actually represents in the real world today, you know? It's definitely not a safety net. It's, barely enough to cover a couple of days of groceries? But this was the stark, literal reality for the woman in our story today. She was left with just $50 to her absolute name, and man, the clock was ticking. Section 1. The $50 reality. The stakes here were just incredibly heavy. We're talking about someone who had recently lost her job, she couldn't afford rent, and most importantly, she had a young child to support. The sheer weight of those three things, it's immense. It's the kind of situation that would completely paralyze most of us with fear, right? But instead of giving up, instead of letting these brutal circumstances dictate her future, she actually made the conscious decision to take immediate, tangible action. Moving right along to the next phase, baking through the struggle. So, she looked around at what she actually had, a tiny kitchen and her immediate community, and she started baking homemade cookies right there in that cramped space, planning to just sell them to her neighbors. I love this because it's a brilliant example of a truly scrappy market entry point. She didn't sit around waiting for some perfect commercial kitchen setup or, a massive marketing budget. She utilized exactly what little she had right in front of her to try and generate some immediate value. But here is the absolute crucial point. At first, almost no one bought them. Success was definitely not instant. Actually, her initial attempt was pretty much a complete failure. Try to imagine that profound discouragement for a second. You're down to your absolute last $50. You're putting in all this intense physical labor to bake. You put yourself out there to your neighbors, and the result? Total silence. Crickets. It takes a massive, massive amount of internal resilience to survive that specific moment. Which brings us to adapting and finding growth. Instead of accepting defeat, she developed this incredibly actionable three-step playbook for growth. Number 1, she kept improving the recipes. She didn't just assume her product was perfect right out of the gate. She iterated. Number 2, she really listened to customer feedback. Those few people who did buy, or hey, even the ones who didn't, they offered valuable data, and she actively used it. And number 3, she posted short videos online every single day. She moved way beyond her physical neighborhood and tapped right into the digital world, leveraging free platforms through sheer, relentless consistency. So that's product iteration, customer data, and daily digital marketing, the whole shebang. And guess what? Those specific tactics absolutely paid off. Slowly but surely, her business grew. As those online videos started gaining traction and her recipes really hit the mark, it wasn't just individual neighbors buying anymore. Local cafes actually started placing orders. This right here is a massive leap. She basically transitioned from direct-to-consumer neighborhood sales to actual B2B sales. Her consistent daily videos and constant recipe improvements directly translated into broader market appeal. She finally had real momentum. Now let's look at the true cost of success. This whole journey is just a massive study in contrast. I mean, think back to her darkest hour, right? That tiny kitchen, absolutely no buyers in sight. Now fast forward through all that intense adaptation, the daily videos, the endless recipe tweaks, and she has built a highly successful bakery with a growing team. That massive gap between those two completely different realities, it was bridged entirely by her stubborn refusal to quit. Success doesn't always start with money. It starts with courage and consistency. Seriously, for anyone out there facing a severe setback right now or feeling like you just don't have the capital to start your dream, you've got to remember this story. The 50 bucks, that wasn't the catalyst. Her courage to actually start and her consistency to just keep going day after day, that was the true capital she invested. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with one final provocative thought. What business would you start with just $50? Think about it. If all the safety nets were completely removed and you had to rely entirely on your own courage, your adaptability, and your consistency, what would your tiny kitchen be? Give that some real thought and let this amazing story challenge your own potential.